Hey guys, if you're watching this, it might mean that you're going through something right now, whether it's that you're feeling sad or vulnerable or sensitive or even unmotivated or feeling lost and you don't know where to start. And that's completely okay, first of all, because it's all part of the human experience. So don't ever beat yourself up over something that might have happened in the past. What really matters is that right now, in the present, you're allowing yourself the space to feel better. And from watching this video, you're going to learn how to be in a better place and feel good about your situation again. And also to learn to pick yourself back up so that the future you can feel better, which is infinite times better than just letting the sadness persist and spiraling into something even deeper. So I'm going to give you my system to get you back on track and to build up your self-esteem again. And if you're lost, to give you a place to start. Hi guys, I'm May. So welcome and welcome back to my channel. I like to talk a lot about self-improvement and also maybe other things. And if you like that vibe, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. By the way, guys, I just started a Discord community. So if you want to connect with other like-minded people who are interested in self-development and just, people who have the same vibe, definitely join it. And I may or may not put like a limit on the members just to keep it intimate. So yeah, I really hope that you guys can join in and join in on the conversations. And yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Anyways, before I dive into my tips today, I want to let you guys know that it might look like I have my life together all the time, but it's an illusion. That's the goal that I want, that I strive for, that's the reality I want to live in. But I can also admit that I'm vulnerable, I'm sensitive, and I'm as human as everyone else. And my life is far from perfect. I just came out of the most challenging month of my recent life, and I still struggle a lot with chronic depression and anxiety and trauma that comes and goes. But the key is I never let it stay. So the system or the playbook that I'm talking about for feeling better and getting back on track, it does not involve numbing yourself to the world or shutting down or becoming frozen. Because if you don't learn to meet your needs directly, you will learn to meet your needs some other way, neurotically, whether it's developing some habit that you might not want or relationships that might not be good for you or even coping mechanisms that will somehow like help you survive but never really feel enough to actually be fulfilling for you. In order to be fulfilled, like we need to go straight to the source and we need to face whatever it is that we're dealing with. You need to remember that there's no light without darkness. So just imagine that if our life were perfect all the time and that everything's always working out for us, then you will not be able to appreciate the good things that you have because everything is good. So everything's normal and like nothing. And life is so paradoxical like that. We need to hurt in order to heal. We need to know what chaos and drama looks like in order to have peace. And then in order to really love, we need to know first what heartbreak feels like. And any experience that we have in our lives is meant to bring us balance and help us evolve. Because if everything were good all the time, then there will be no balance. And when I have a challenging time, I see it as the universe is forcing me out of my comfort zone and making me evolve, like from May 1.0 to May 2.0, And that even if you try and resist it, it's not going to work. Believe me, I tried many times. It ends up worse because the universe has already decided. And you need to face this setback in order to realize something about yourself, something even bigger that you might not even realize now, but eventually you're going to look back and see it and be like, wow, that happened to me for a reason. Because I'm going to tell you guys, something happened to me last month that I totally did not expect. And without trauma dumping on you guys too hard, but I want you to at least know the context of where this video came about. So yeah, long story short, I went to visit my family and I ended up with two things. One, finding out I had a sibling that I didn't even know about and that he unalived himself recently. And then number two, I had to put a family member in a mental institution. And it was extremely, extremely hard for me because that person was also my abuser. And the idea for this video came to me when I was going through this really challenging time. And notice how I didn't say bad time. Like, even if it seems crazy and insane, it's not really, nothing's particularly bad because there always ends up being a resolution. It's just really challenging to go through, and that's okay. And it's not my first time experiencing something challenging, and it won't be my last. So whenever that happens, whether something bad happened to me, or I get triggered, or I just feel really unmotivated and really frozen up and numb about something, it's usually and often on my heaviest days that the opportunity to be strong again will present itself. And then I'm going to use this opportunity to really be able to prove to myself that I can get out of this rut. And it doesn't involve pretending to be brave or that, I'm lying to myself that I'm not sad, I don't feel heavy about it, because then I'll be lying to myself. No, acknowledge it, face it. I feel like shit today, but it doesn't have to be this way by tomorrow. Like, it's okay to experience it and sit with it and be real with it and confront it and then go through it, because you have to go through it anyway. So you can go through it like a brave person, or you can go through it like someone who's super defeated. Because if you distract yourself or numb yourself to your emotions, it will come back to you in other ways. We live in a time where we can just easily sweep things under the rug and focus on whatever distractions we want to choose and focus on. Anything else but our own issues that we need to face. But you can't run away from it. But when you face it, that's your first sign of showing strength and self-awareness and bravery. And that's where you can start to heal. And then I think the next step here, after acknowledging your feelings, is to know how to soothe it. And in order for us to move on and become productive again, we need to know how to be able to feel safe and secure. So what can give you that feeling? What can you do today, maybe in the next hour, to soothe yourself? Maybe you can write down a list of things that makes you happy, that you have access to. For me, it's doing things like heart-opening yoga or meditations, reading a self-help book. That usually comforts me. Or even just screaming into a pillow and writing my feelings down. And these are some tools that you can learn to self-soothe as well. Like, sometimes if you're feeling stuck and you really don't know where to start, you can first remind yourself that you have a body, you have a physical body. You can do body scans from your toes to your knees, to your belly, to your shoulders, to your head. And what I like to do is just feeling the physical sensations of just like touching my fingertips and my arms and being able to feel in touch with my body again. Oh, and you want to know another thing that surprisingly can help self-soothe? That's doing something kind for someone else. Maybe even give someone a compliment or do something that can help someone else's day. Like whether it's helping out around the house or telling a stranger that their outfit looks really cool, or even commenting something positive on social media. Because everything that we do is a reflection of ourselves. So in a way, we experience the same kindness back onto ourselves when we give other people an act of kindness. Especially if you have trouble allowing yourself space, but you're a giver, do what makes you feel good. And if you feel like a failure and that you don't have anything together, you don't know where to start from building your self-worth. High self-worth is as important as having oxygen, water, sleep. You have to believe that you deserve to take up space in whatever room you step in. You must believe that you deserve everything that comes to you. And then if you want to take things up a notch, you can throw in your wildest dreams that you can never even dare dream about. Throw that in there. That's what you deserve. The things that we feed our thoughts will feed our minds, and it feeds our body. And the brain doesn't know the difference between a forced thought and an intrusive thought. So if we force ourselves to think happy things and be grateful and optimistic and feed ourselves those thoughts, even if we don't feel like it, even if we don't believe it, our mind will then start to look for these things in our surroundings and in our lives to affirm and validate those thoughts. And on the days where I feel like I have nothing and nothing's working out for me, I think about what I do have. I have 2 cats who love me, I have my partner who loves me, and I'm so lucky to have them. I have a roof over my head, and I'm physically comfortable, and I'm not in pain. I have access to the internet and all of the opportunities that it can bring. And that alone makes me luckier than most people in the world. I have something to be happy about and to be very grateful for. And then from there, be good to yourself, be kind to yourself. I may not be anywhere near my hopes and dreams today, but I'm one day closer. I can do one thing today that takes me there eventually. Even if we're not anywhere close, but when we start to think about our goals, our mind will start to highlight more opportunities that will take us there. Even if you're doing everything that you can and you're putting in the work and you still don't feel good, you're still human. So it's likely you will do things like sometimes acting the way that you're not proud of, or withdrawing or reacting too quickly with your feelings when it's hurt especially, and feeling triggered over something that's not logical, or even forgetting how to cope, or coping in unhealthy ways and struggling to accept yourself and to have boundaries and self-sabotage. It's all okay. It's so normal. I go through it all the time. But what really matters is that you realize it and you have the self-awareness to pick yourself back up again. And if you ever feel lost, go back to the drawing board of rebuilding your self-esteem. It all starts there. And as many times as you need to, you can keep going back to square one. It's okay. Even if it's the 10th time or the 100th time or the 1,000th time. Every time, it's worth it. And the more you do this, the more proof you have to yourself. Hey, I did this 100 times already. I can do this again. Even if it feels like starting all over again, it's okay to start over. Getting good vibrations and energy from building your self-worth will nourish you as much as sleep, water, getting good nutrition, more than anything else will. In fact, I would rather rebuild my life 1,000 times over than to be stuck in a situation that I hate forever. And if you're going through a difficult time, make sure you're drinking enough water and eating nutritious food and getting enough sleep. Like, those are the things that keep us alive. But the best thing you can do is, honestly, is to force yourself to work on your self-worth and never compromise it. And if you feel very scattered and overwhelmed by life and you want to do something very tangible and practical about it, you can also start by regaining control of something, anything, except other people. Don't try to control other people, but pick one thing that belongs to you that you have control over, whether it's your closet, your bedroom, your desk, maybe even the files in your computer, and get organized. Through the process of reorganizing and cleaning up your space, you will reteach yourself that you can do something good for yourself today and that you can have discipline to keep it that way. But if you don't, that's okay too. And there's also a study that showed that people who are actively working on their future while finding balance in their everyday life, in their present life, actually can build more resilience to stress and negative moods. So learning proactive coping skills, or at least having a playbook of what to do when you're stressed, is very important. If you feel overwhelmed right now, from the second that you wake up, breathe, and then think about what it is you're going to do for the day. Write it down as a to-do list or a notebook. And if you can do even one thing, even if it's small, like getting up and make coffee, congratulate yourself. You did something for yourself today. Sometimes we need to pat ourselves in the back for the smallest things, even when it's not a big thing that we did, and even when it's not perfect. And if we mess up, good job, we did it anyway. We can fix things later. And problems will never last unless we let it last. Like I said, right, life can be so paradoxical, because if you're actively wanting a positive experience, that means currently you're facing a negative experience. But then if you're accepting a negative experience and going through it, that in itself can be a positive experience. This is what the philosopher Alan Watts refers to as the backward law. The idea that the more you chase after your feelings, and whether it's feeling good all the time, the less satisfied we become. And that actively pursuing it can only reinforce the fact that we lack it in the first place. Think about it. The people who keep chasing after cheap dopamine hits and happy experiences are usually the most unhappy people. Trust me, I used to work in the nightlife industry, where the whole industry is built around giving people happy, euphoric experiences, but the people attending it and the people working there are usually so bitter and angry. And then the same goes for, like, if you're desperate to be rich, the more poor and unworthy of it you feel when you actually have the money. And I don't think I've ever personally heard a billionaire or multimillionaire say things like, I feel so happy and blessed. In fact, I've heard many of them say things like, more money, more problems. You might want my money, but do you want the stress that comes with it? And then also, the more desperately you want to feel beautiful and sexy and desired, the more you will think of yourself as not worthy of it, regardless of what you actually look like. Like, think about all of the beautiful celebrities who end up just doing way too much. It just shows that being satisfied is so important. That's the real goal, actually. Not $1 billion, not being the most beautiful person in the world, not being the most positively euphoric person all the time. Just being okay and at ease and fine and satisfied. You know who the most blessed people in the world are? It's meek people. It's not the person in the room with the biggest ego. It's the person who's actually so chill and just okay with being okay. I think these people are so blessed. So don't ever feel bad if you're not successful at something, because most people who are so-called successful, they fail way more times than they succeed, and you don't see those failures. And even then, really, they just want to feel safe and secure and chill. That's really the goal. So yeah, like, remember, no matter what it is you're going through, even if it's bad right now, that it will always get better. No matter how shitty the day is, or even if you don't believe it or it doesn't feel like it always gets better. You don't have to be vulnerable with other people if you don't feel like it, if you don't want to. And that's sometimes a good thing, actually, especially if you don't know if that person will have the best intentions for you. But you need to be vulnerable and honest with yourself. And sometimes things don't go the way you want, but tomorrow's a new day and it gets better. And the things that you can control, you can rectify, you can change it, and you always have the power to do that. So guys, I hope this was helpful today, and I hope you guys feel better. And yeah, if you found this helpful, do give me a like and subscribe to my channel. And love you all. So grateful for you guys, and I will see you in the next video.